Hello guys. Today we are going to discuss the history of Linux. So before that, I just want to rewind the previous class. So in the previous session, we have just discussed the syllabus of the our course. So these were the whole syllabus I have already discussed, and we have just discussed what is the overview of the Linux. So who are the audiences and what are the prerequisites to learn this Linux language as a Linux operating system and other things of Linux. So today we are just going to discuss the history of this particular Linux. So from this picture you might have guessed that what we are going to cover, like, okay, in this image this is a history, okay. So and the history is old, that's why I have made this image this way. So going to the very beginning of the journey of the Linux. So from the beginning, like in 1964 in Bell Lab, that was part of New Jersey. So in the Bell Lab where that C was developed, okay, there that Unix was a project, okay. So that time some of the developers started working on this development of this Unix operating system, but after some day on 1969 they were working a lot, but they could not able to finalize that particular product. That's why finally after 5 years they have withdrawn that particular project, okay. Unix is withdrawn by Bell Lab. Then there were two workers. One is Dennis Ritchie, another is Ken Thompson. You can tell these are the developers that time. They were working in for this Unix project. And Dennis Ritchie, everybody knows that he the father of C. So these two person actually started working on that particular product again. Even after this Bell Lab have written that particular product. Okay. Project. Then Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson finally been successful, and after that, after successful completion of that particular project, they have given that as a Unix name. Okay, UNICS. Okay, that spelling was Unix, but now sorry, after that these two person made it UNICS. The full form is like Unixplexed Information and Computing Service. So actually they made it free. Free means those who are interested to use this particular Unix, they will use it in freely. Okay. Then 1975 they have released one stable version called Unix V6. Okay. And then this is a operating system they have finalized, and everybody like that. Also some people taken this particular application, sorry, this particular operating system in your system, and they used this particular Unix V6 as a um, their host operating system. Okay. Then after this Unix V6 has been developed and being popular, many companies came to on the front, like IBM. They have used the same kernel, and they have prepared their own Unix called IBM AIX. Then Sun System created their own operating system, that is Sun Solaris. Then Apple, that is Mac OS. Then HP created their own, that is HP UX. These are called the Unix flavors. Okay. So once that 1900, after 1975, Unix was so popular at that time, and but problem was that Unix it was actually black and white, like everything was in the command line thing. So in the next slide I will discuss what is command line, but yeah, for now just concentrate on this particular history. Okay. So I know history is boring, but without history how can we go ahead? Okay. So history will actually help you a lot to understand that how was the ancestors, how was the difficulty in the ancestor age. Now, what are the engineers that we are um, having? Okay, then actually in this Unix, these were the flavors. Many companies like IBM, Sun Company, Apple, then HP, they have made their own operating system. Then after that, Linus Torvald came to picture. So he was a student, okay, that time. And as actually after when they so he was just studying that particular Unix developed by these two person like Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson. So this particular boy like Linus Torvald was studied, and this particular product Unix and this Unix v6, everything he has studied properly, and the code also he has researched a lot. Then he also again studied the Andrew Tannenbaum's Minix OS, who was actually that this Tannenbaum made its own operating system that is called Minix, which was a student version, that's like children's. Okay, the children can easily play with the computer using this operating system. So that's why this particular Torvald, Linus Torvald, has studied the two things. One is Unix, okay, and then this Minix. So after studying that the Unix and Minix, he has done a lot of research on the code of this particular Unix and Minix. Finally, he had developed his own operating system, or own kernel, that is called Linux. Okay, in 1991, Linus Torvald written own code by reading Unix codes and Andrew Tannenbaum's OS, that is Minix, which was developed for the children's study. So that particular Minix was a GUI version, and this Unix is a totally command line version, and this Minix and Unix combiningly he has studied a lot, and he has researched a lot. Finally he started his project, then finally been success. Okay, so then after when he was success, the date was like 17 September 1991. So in 17 September 1991, he published the kernel, like Linux kernel. Okay, and it became very popular because this particular operating system was very easy to use, because he has added the GUI feature also. So GUI means graphical user interface, and command line interface, both were supported in the Linux. And suddenly it been popular because he had made it free. So the Linux kernel is free. Every company, those which are a startup company and those which are who don't don't have the interest to spend anything on the operating system, so they have used that particular software, that particular Linux kernel in their company. And finally, lot of people, if it is free, then lot of people were using that time, so it became very popular. Then in 1995, there was a momentum that is called a free software momentum called GNU. So free software means many companies came to in the market, and they have do their fair, kind of like a book fair in our city. Okay, that is book fair, food fair, like this. That was a software fair. Okay, so there was a momentum, a free software momentum. So that time, the 1995, this Linus Torvald introduced his particular Linux kernel. And in this free momentum software, there was some small software also there. And so whatever free softwares were there, combiningly with Linux, they created one OS that is called Linux. Okay, Linux actually a kernel plus GNU. GNU means this free momentum software. Whatever softwares were free, so they made them in a single unit with the Linux kernel. So Linux kernel with the GNU free software is called the Linux OS. Okay, so that Linux OS In the 1995, it is full-fledged. So if somebody is asking that when the Linux actually full-fledgedly came to market in 1995, in that 1995, that Linux kernel along with some GNU free software, it actually combiningly called as Linux OS. So that time, the Linux was free and this GNU is also free, okay, because it is a free software momentum. And all the free softwares combiningly, they have made one particular OS that is called Linux OS. So, so it is a history. I know that it might be boring for you, but if you are using Linux, then we should know at least who is the father of Linux. That was my purpose, that I was trying to discuss this history. Basically, if somebody is asking that who has developed that particular kernel, Linux kernel was developed by this Linus Torvald. Along with that Linux kernel, some GNU free softwares, combiningly, they made one software that is called a Linux OS. So once the Linux OS comes to picture, totally it was free. That time, as it was free, many people use this, and also many small companies, medium level companies came forward and they use this particular product, and again it's been very popular. Then what is the purpose of this freeness? Okay, and due to this freeness, many people use that, and also they download the code, and again they have worked on the code. Then they are also added some code of their own. Like suppose it's free, then I am downloading and download the code, and I properly researched on the code, then I learned from the code, and I developed my new code, then I proposed that code into that Linux, then they have approved my code, then like this that product is increased. Okay, so nowadays Linux is very fast because many people contributing their code, and finally that particular Linux is being very big also and big popular also. So Linux, so some people are telling Linux is a operating system. We can tell up to some limit that yeah, it's Linux is a operating system, but actual Linux is a kernel. In the next slide, we will discuss a lot. That is what is the difference between kernel and this OS. Okay, let's go to that. So if somebody is buying one computer, okay, so this is the computer kind of. So suppose you are buying one computer, this is called a computer system. Okay, that computer system it looks like a hardware. Hardware means whatever thing we are able to touch, we are able to see, we are able to feel by touching in our hand. That is a hardware actually. But if I am buying a laptop, let's say from a shop, then unless until the softwares are not there, then that particular hardware is not going to be effective, or that is not called as a computer. Okay, so the very basic computer is like calculator, you know. So like this, we everybody knows now what is the actual computer. That may be in the form of desktop, that may be in the form of laptop, that may be in the form of tab, that may be in the form of mobile. Okay, everything is called a computer because they are computing. Okay, in the device which is able to compute, that is called a computer. So mobile is also able to compute, we can tell it's a computer. So this mobile and the laptop, desktop, everybody is able to computing now. That's why they are called as a computer. But only that hardware is not going to work. That's why to give a life to that particular hardware, we have to put some software inside that. Then only that particular hardware is going to be activated, then that hardware is going to be useful. So if you will divide this particular system into two parts, one will be hardware part and the software. So in the hardware, you know already, let's say it's a computer, our totally desktop. Okay, in the desktop we will get a monitor for screening purpose, like for screen purpose, like to display purpose. You will get a processor, sorry, monitor and CPU. Okay, then some input device like keyboard. Okay, keyboard, mouse like this. So keyboard, mouse are input device, means using the keyboard you will give the input to the system. Using the mouse you will also give some input instruction to the system. Then monitor is going to display you some output. Then the CPU contain many things like processor, memory, disk, then networking card, cable, etc., etc. The processor has the work to process your input. Whatever input you are giving through the keyboard or mouse, they are going to be processed by the processor. Then what is memory? Memory means it's here memory means add a RAM. So RAM is the full form is the random access memory. So that RAM is going to be used by that processor. If something is something in some input we are giving, then that input is going to be processed by the processor, but using the main memory called RAM or memory. You can tell it as memory or main memory or RAM. So in that RAM, everything is going to be processed. Then disk 1, disk 2, disk 3 like this. So what is this disk 1? They are nothing but your hard disk. So disk 1 is a hard disk, disk 2 means it may be a pen drive, disk 3 may be to your CD drive. So whatever disk term you will get, they are related to your permanent device kind of hard disk. Okay, in hard disk we will store our data permanently. In pen drive we will store our data permanently. In CD disk also you are going to store your data permanently. So whatever disk concept will be there, they are permanent in nature, but this memory is volatile in nature. Volatile means it will forget everything once your laptop will be stopped, closed. Okay, once you will shut down your laptop or shut down your desktop, then this memory is going to forget everything. So it's called a random access memory. It is randomly accessed by the processor. It's a very faster memory. That's why processor uses this memory. But for storing purpose, for a permanently storage device, we are using that disk one, like hard disk or pen drive or CD drive. Then network card. Network card is responsible for establishing your network or internet connection, everything. You are using that network card. So inside the CPU, these are the particular hardwares. Okay, so what are the hardwares we have? Like monitor, keyboard, mouse, processor, memory, disk, the network card, and some cables, and blah blah blah, etc., etc. These are called hardware. But if we are just buying a hardware, it is not going to really work unless until we are not putting any software, any application. So what is that particular software we want to discuss? Okay, we want to discuss that operating system. So everybody knows, like everybody listen about that Windows, Linux, Solaris. Okay, so if nobody is listening anything about Linux, but everybody should be acquainted with Windows at least, because nowadays every person has a mobile. Okay, in mobile the operating system name is called Android, but in Windows and in desktop, many people, like you can tell whoever have a computer, at least they have a OS, and the very popular OS is called Windows. People are using Windows as a operating system. But the engineers, those which are working in IT company, okay, they use Windows operating system as well as Linux based operating system. So I am telling Windows based operating system, Linux based operating system. Matlab means, what is the meaning of that? Now, Windows based means Windows is a kernel in that operating system. Linux based means Linux is a kernel in that operating system. So if you will give an example of a Windows based operating system, then Windows 98 you might have listened, Windows 10, Windows 11 nowadays coming. Okay, so Windows XP, Windows Vista, these are the Windows operating systems. Then Windows is a kernel. So Windows is a kernel, but Windows Vista is a operating system. So inside Windows Vista, Windows is a kernel along with some other small softwares. It is called a Windows Vista operating system. Then Windows kernel plus some small software, it is called Windows XP operating system. Then Windows kernel plus some other software, small softwares, it's called Windows XP or Windows 11 or Windows 10 operating system. You might, okay, you got this right. So then like this, in our Linux, many people might have listened about Red Hat, Ubuntu, then SUSE, Kali Linux. These are called the Linux-based operating system. Means in this Red Hat or Ubuntu or Kali Linux or SUSE or Debian, these are called the operating system. But in these operating system, the common thing is like Linux kernel. That's why these are called the Linux-based operating system. So, what is the purpose of a kernel and what is the purpose of a operating system? So kernel is responsible for all these tasks like input output management. IO management means input output management. Whatever input will come from a user, that will be taken care by the system, that kernel, and that kernel is going to process that input and finally generate the output. So that input output management will be managed by the kernel. Then process management means whatever we are giving the input, like let's say I am giving 1 plus 2. So I am giving 1 as a input, 2 as a input, and also plus as a input. Then these three things in 1 plus 2, these three things taken care by that kernel as a input, then it is processing by that particular kernel. So to get the result, so it will process internally. Okay, it will convert that by your input into binary code. Then finally that binary code is going to be processed. Then after that it will generate one result. Then again that binary result will be converted into that ASCII text, like a human readable text. Then that text is going to be displayed to you. So that is going to be processed, means everything is processing inside the kernel. Then file management, like whatever file you are creating, that creating and deleting everything, and sometimes some file will be automatically deleted after 30 days. These are the file management kind. Like if our kernel is not able to manage all the files, then it is very difficult task to a human being to manage all the things. That's why files are also being managed by kernel. Then memory management, let's say we are working in a database. Okay, so the database data are stored in the database. Then we are processing that data and we are generating some new data. Then so where that particular data is being processed, everything is stored in the hard disk. Suppose one file I have stored in, one film I have stored in the hard disk. But that if you I am that suppose I am playing one video. Okay, let's say that film name is The King. That is a Mahesh Babu's film. Okay, the Mahesh Babu film I am just playing. So when you are running that particular video, that time it will be fetched from the hard disk and it will load it into RAM. Then from RAM we are going to view that particular film. So these tasks really it will be managed by the kernel again. Then the device management. Device means whatever devices we have, like we have a cable, we have this mouse, we have keyboard, we have monitor, we have a processor. All these are called devices. All the devices are being really managed by the kernel. So actually these 5 tasks will be taken care by the kernel. But if kernel will be responsible for do that, then if you are giving input, then only that particular kernel is going to understand, right? But if we cannot able to give the input, then what will happen? So kernel can do IO management, kernel can do process management, kernel can do file management, memory management, and device management. That's okay. But if we are not able to give the input to the kernel properly, then is that kernel will process that particular input? No, right? That's why to interact with this kernel, we need some middlewares. Okay, that middle softwares, that application software, and middleware like Cell is here. Here there is a application called Cell. There is an application called user management user management applications are there, and some other application softwares are there, like security softwares there. So security software and the Cell and the user management softwares, then some other application softwares combiningly with kernel make a operating system. So kernel plus security software plus Cell plus user management software plus some other application software combiningly is called a operating system. So now you might have the doubt clear, like what is the difference between operating system and kernel. Only kernel cannot fulfill the property of a operating system. If that operating system is there, then that operating system should understand the human language, right? So suppose I am opening one laptop, okay, laptop. After that I am just playing, I am just going to type something abcd. That abcd is going to be understand by somebody, right? If this particular terminal, if this particular screen is not there, then will I able to type something? No, right? Then this particular terminal or this particular place where I am typing something, this is not part of the kernel. Okay, this is the other application software, and whatever software which is going to be executed. Let's say I am going to execute a date command. Okay, I am just typing a date, then pressing the enter key, then it is giving me some output. I'm typing one cal, then I'm pressing the enter key, it is giving me some output like calendar. Under this, whenever I am executing this particular text, okay, date, cal, then some output is coming. So who is going to give that? So somebody there, that is called a cell. The cell is there in the background, which is taking your input, and your input is sending to the processor by the cell. And the processor is processing your particular input, okay, whatever input you have given. Then that processor will generate the output. It will send the output to the cell. Then cell is going to display this type of output, okay. Then this date I have typed, if I will type data, then it is not going to be processed, because data is not understood by the cell. Date was understood by the cell. Cal is understood by the cell. I will type abcd. It is abcd not understood by the cell. So this date or cal is understood by the cell means I have to learn this. So I have to learn the cell commands. Okay. So in this picture, you are seeing that one cell. Cell is nothing but it is an interface between you, between the user and the kernel. Okay. Which is going to take the input from you and give an output to you. It takes the input from this form and it is giving me the output. It is taking the input as cal and it is giving me the output. But if I type data, if I type abcd, then it is not going to understand. So some of the things which are there that you should understand, so that you should remember, and these are the gift of cell. Like cell is giving us this type of things to interact with the system. So you understand. I will discuss much more about this cell, but for now, cell is an interface. You just listen. Okay. Then user management. Suppose one system is there. Then you might have listened about the server, client, like this. Okay. Server means sometimes you are going to the bank and you are telling that please do this deposit immediately so that I will leave to my home. And sometimes you might have listened that our server is down. So server down means everything whatever you are going to do, that is going to be saved in a server. Okay, so server is somewhere many people access that. So server is a central place where many people have the access. So every people has to access that particular server, many people has the user management concept, like user ID or password. Suppose I want to access that server, then I must have that username or password. Some XAG wanting to reach to the server, then he should have that access, like he should have a user ID and password. So all these users are being managed by this user management software. Then security, let's say antivirus, like and firewall or any antivirus. So all these are the security softwares. Okay, so security softwares, user management software, cell, then other application softwares like notepad and kernel, combiningly we can tell it as a operating system. I hope it's understood by everybody. Yeah. Then Operating system, as I told, now you have the clear picture about this operating system. And operating system, we are using two ways to interact. Okay, so there are two ways we are interacting with the system. Sometimes you in the Windows you will see like this. Okay, everything will be graphical. Like here it is some audio file, this is a video file mp4, right? You are seeing that video kind of thing. Then you will go to the document, then you are getting a folder here, then inside the folder you are double clicking, then many folder you are getting, right? So here many folders. So everything you are getting in the form of graphics. Okay, that's why it is called graphical user interface. But just before that, I was trying to show something. So this is a screen you are seeing. Okay, and here also I am giving a something. I am also getting something, right? I am giving a date command, then I am able to see the date, current date. I am giving a cal command, I am able to see the calendar. I want to display the calendar of the whole year, then cal 2021. I'm displaying all the months, right? So here whatever we are able to see in the form of text, and whatever input we are giving in the form of a text also. So here you will give the input as in the form of text, you will get the output also in the form of a text only. So this is called a command line interface. Okay, here this is called a command, this is the interface. So whatever we are means interacting with the system using the commands and its interface, that's why it's called command interface or command line interface. Why it is command line interface? Why you are not telling command interface? Now only command is not going to work. If you want to display the whole years, then you are typing something else, right? Here I have typed cal 2021, 2 words I have. It's a command line. As it is a command line, and this interface is helping you to display something. That's why it's a command line interface. Another is called GUI, graphical user interface. So you will interact with the system whether in the graphical user interface, or you are going to interact with the system through the command line interface. That will be decided by you. Okay, and Windows is much more popular because of its GUI. Okay, many people likes the Windows operating system because Windows is a GUI based operating system. Many people use it, but this Linux is much more popular because of its command line. Okay, so here we are going to discuss all the things, okay, in the command line. Okay, so these are the two interfaces. One is GUI, another is CLI. Then I will come to the Linux architecture. So I have told you that when we are buying one laptop, that is a plain hardware. On that, we are going to load a operating system. In that operating system, actually kernel will be loaded into the hardware. Then after that kernel, our cell is going to be loaded. So what is that cell? Now cell is an interface, and this gray area, the application program, mail, FTP, DBMS, these are the applications through which a particular person is going to be interact. Okay, so interact the system. So a person may send a mail, a person may FTP with the file transfer from one system to another system. A person may be going to the database and fetch some data. A person may be install some application like Arogya Setu in his laptop. Then he will check who are the infected persons in the world, like everything. Okay, so these applications a person is going to use, but will that particular person interact with the system just by knowing the ABCD? No. Just by knowing the ABCD, he will not interact with the system. To interact with the system, a user must be acquainted with the system languages. System ko kya chahiye, what the system is needing. Suppose I am double clicking. If I am not double clicking this, suppose I am double clicking this, then only it is opening. If I'm not double clicking, will that particular software open? No. So double click is a instruction. Then I am just clicking this. If I'm clicking this, then it is just selecting that. Single click is a selection, double click is a opening. That means it's an instruction I am sending. So this instruction will be understood by the cell. So whatever that particular user is going to interact with the system, directly he will not interact with the system. In between a cell will be there. Then that cell is going to give you some commands, and you have to learn that command. Once you will learn that command, you will give that command to the cell, then cell will give you the output. So you cannot directly interact with the system. System means hardware and kernel. So only hardware and kernel is not going to help you. So being a user, you have to learn these commands: BI, ED, COT, ENB, which, PG. These are the commands which are provided by the cell. Then through this particular terminal, as I am showing this, so this is a terminal. In this terminal, you will give a command like date, like cal, like some, like I want to display something like 10 plus 20 expr 20 plus 10. Okay, then it is giving me 30. So this is a command expression or command line. So this command line is provided by the cell. That's why whenever I am typing something and pressing enter key, that cell is going to evaluate your instruction. It will evaluate whether that expression command is right or not. If that expression command is right, then the format I am giving that 20 plus 30. If I'll give 20 plus 30 in this way, it is not going to display 30. It is going to display 20 plus 30. But if I'm giving a space in between, then it is giving me 30. That means that should be syntax. So it is your syntax. This is checked by that particular cell. Then cell will give this particular task to the processor. Processor will process that. Process means it will calculate inside the system. Finally, it will generate one output. Then that output will be sent to the cell. Cell is going to be show you that 30. That cell is giving me the 30. So cell is nothing but your interface through which you are giving an input and getting an output. Okay. So here the terminal, this white screen is called a terminal. In this terminal, whatever I am typing, like date. So once I will press the enter key, immediately the cell is going to take that particular date. Just listen carefully. This is called terminal. Okay, I am just clearing the screen. This is called a terminal. Inside the terminal, I am typing something. Till now, cell has no work. Once I am pressing the enter key, at that time, cell took that particular date command and checks whether it is right command or not. Once it evaluates it's a right command, then it gives that particular command to the processor. Processor will process that. So after processing that particular command, okay, then it is giving you the output to the cell. Then cell will give the output to the terminal. Then terminal is showing to you. Okay. So terminal, then your command, then cell, then processor, then output. Then output will send to the cell. Cell will send that output to the terminal. And terminal will show you this. That's why here I have written everything. Okay. So kernel is going to process your things. Okay. An application program. There are many like VLC player is application program. The DBMS like Oracle is application program. FTP file transfer protocol, mail. These are application programs. They so all these things the user is going to use, but all the things will be communicated to the cell only. Okay. Then Linux feature. So next time I will discuss that Linux feature. So for now, I am closing this session. If you have any doubt till now, please ask me, or else I will close this session. Okay. I'm waiting for some time, guys. I hope you don't have any doubt. So if you have any doubt, please ask me the doubts in this number, and you can have I will create a that WhatsApp, okay, WhatsApp group, so that you can ask the question. Okay, so please ask me question if you are in doubt, but before that you just read all the things, and then tomorrow onwards we are going to discuss the practical part also. So okay, I'll tell you how to install Linux in your system, then how to practice. Okay, so for now let's close this session. Bye.